Okay. Dumelang, sanbonani, abusheni, sialocha, nda, more. Good morning to you all. Let me start by thanking you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to honor this special appointment. It is my utmost desire to ensure that this is worth your while. And I believe that it is going to be worth your while. Our topic for this morning is the basics of taxation. And I'm going to be discussing with you the critical basics of taxation for businesses in South Africa. But before we dive into the topic of the day, let's start by making a few but important announcements which are going to help us navigate around this webinar successfully. Number one, for those of you who have attended Zoom group meetings, you might have been aware that a basic license only allows you up to 60 minutes. Then after that, the meeting will time out. So it is going to do that for us. What we have to do when it does that, we are going to restart the meeting by going back and clicking on the same meeting link. So when it kicks you out, wait 1 minute, then go and click the same meeting link. It is going to take you back in. The second announcement, please share your email addresses on the message box to request a copy of this presentation. We are recording this. Therefore, share your email address so that a link on how to get this presentation can be shared with you. We are not going to take question and answers during the presentation. We have reserved a space for that at the end of this presentation. So to make sure that you do not forget your question as we move along the presentation, type your questions on the comments box. And at the end of this presentation, we are going to take a 5 minutes break where we're going to sort out your questions. And then as we come back, we're going to answer some of them. So because of time constraints, we are not going to be able to answer all your questions. But after the presentation, we will make efforts to make sure that 100% of the questions which were answered, which were asked, apologies for that, are going to be addressed. Please make sure that you ask questions which are only within the scope of what we are going to be discussing. I'm going to discuss the scope shortly. As you ask a question on the comment section, put an email next to it. All the questions that are not within the scope of this webinar are going to be ignored, but we will try to address them later on. We value your feedback. And guys, I'm asking that you mute yourselves. I can hear someone laughing there. So please mute yourselves. We value your feedback, your comments, and recommendations. Therefore, I'm asking that you send an email to edu-business@accountellus.co.za or at info@classicoriental.co.za for your feedback, for your comments, and for your recommendations, especially on the future topics that you guys would love us to touch on. This webinar is brought to you by Accountellus in partnership with Classic Oriental Consultancy. For more information on Accountellus, you can go to our website, www www.accountellus.co.za or Classic Oriental, go to www.classicoriental.co.za. Please, guys, try to mute yourselves. Try to mute yourself. Okay. My name is Happy Mpete, and I'm going to be your host and your presenter this morning. I have a bachelor's degree in finance with the University of Johannesburg and a couple of short courses in business development and finance. One of them being a complete personal finance course on how to save money, how to protect money, and how to make more money. I have 7 years experience in corporate finance, and I'm a member in good standing of the South African Institute of Tax Professionals for 8 years now. I'm a registered tax technician and a SARS tax practitioner. In 2018, I obtained my license to practice as a business accountant in practice with the Southern African Institute for Business Accountants. The same year, in 2018, I resigned from my full-time occupation and I registered H&H Accountellus. And in 2019, I started operating Accountellus on a full-time basis. What we do at Accountellus, we provide accounting services, tax compliance services, bookkeeping services, and auditing services in partnership with certified master auditors, which some of you might know. In 2020, I opened a division of financial management coaching. And most of the work that I have done in coaching has been through our work relations with Classic Oriental Consultancy. And we have done most of the enterprise development works for some of the clients that you might know, like your NYDA, Absa Bank, Impala Mine, PPM Mine. And our focus has been in financial management. Since 2018, Accountellus has been a host employer for Orbit FET College for all their branches. We train their financial management interns. Now, with our strong passion for finance, my wealth of academic excellence and practical experience, I believe that by shaking hands with us, we are saying yes to wealth creation. Okay, everyone who's joining us, can you please ensure that you have muted yourselves kindly? Please mute yourselves. Okay. The two, Mulifi, please mute yourself. Okay, let us continue. Accountellus, the customer-centric organization. Our focus is on adding value to our clients. And how do we do that? We do this by focusing or trying to study the challenges that our clients face. Then we prepare and package solutions which addresses these challenges. The aim of this webinar, therefore, is to serve as a general guide where we provide insights on these areas we have identified to be of greatest challenge to our clients. Only those ones we have serviced, namely corporate income tax, pay-as-you-earn, unemployment insurance fund, UIF, provisional tax, and VAT, value-added tax. Therefore, the content of this webinar must not be used by you as a legal reference. And the information that we're going to be discussing on this webinar, it only relates to tax issues which are related to companies. Therefore, we are not going to cover natural persons, deceased estates, insolvent estates, or special trusts. And as discussed on the announcement, please ensure that when you ask your questions, they are only within this scope. We have put care in the preparation of this webinar, as we do with all our presentations. But the honors and the responsibility still lies with you, the director of your own company, to verify that all the applicable rates for the taxes that we are going to be discussing are relevant to the legislation. Also, this webinar is not an official publication by SARS, and it does not aim to address all the issues which are faced by all the attendees who are attending this webinar. We do acknowledge that there are other tax types which are of a challenge to you, which are important and which are crucial. But for the sake of time limitation, we are not going to be addressing those. Now, should you need any additional information regarding the tax types that we are not going to be able to discuss, you can visit your nearest SARS branch, or you can have a virtual consultation with a SARS consultant, or you can contact SARS National Contact Center by calling the numbers which we have put for you there, or you can visit SARS website at www.sars.gov.za. Alternatively, you can contact your own tax advisor or a tax practitioner. How you can choose a tax practitioner is one of the matters that we are going to be discussing later on our presentation. Now, in commencing a course of lectures in taxation, I think that it can be somewhat difficult for the presenter to fix upon the subject to open with, because it can be approached from many sides with some peculiar advantages of its own. A person who is facing challenges with VAT will want me to start by addressing VAT. One who is facing income tax would prefer me to start by addressing income tax. But after careful deliberate, it appears to me that for the purpose of this presentation, I start by treating everyone as a layman. Therefore, to start at the beginning and discuss with you the terms and the definitions, which I believe are crucial. Now, to be successful in anywhere, you need to understand the language that is being used in that world. Because if you don't understand the language, then everything that is being said, it becomes foreign to you. Okay. Please mute yourselves, guys. Kile. Okay, guys. Okay, so let us start at the beginning. SARS. What is SARS? SARS is a South African agency whose work is to collect taxes from the citizens of the states. And some of the responsibilities of SARS are to collect and administer all national taxes, duties, and levies, to collect the revenue, to provide a customs service. Stephen, please stop the video. Thank you. And to advise the Minister of Finance on all revenue matters. So as I have already stated, your success in any environment depends on you understanding the language that is being used in that world. And for the limitation of time, I am not going to discuss all the basic terms, but we at Accountellus have prepared a basic guide on the basic terms which you can ask, and we are gladly going to share with you. It is not uncommon for you to get statements like, we refer to the verification of the assessment for the 2021 tax period, and you have been selected for an audit. And you may be asking yourself, what is a verification? What does assessment mean? What is a tax period? Do we have one tax period, or do we have different many tax periods? What is an audit? Or you will get one of a clients saying, I need a tax clearance certificate. And we say to them, you cannot get your tax compliance status because you are not compliant for one of or the following of these tax types. And one will ask themselves, how many tax types do we have? And what is it that I must do? We are going to discuss this on this webinar. Then you have your forms, which are being called by their codes, like your ITR 12, your EMP 501, your VAT 201, your RAV 01, etc. And you may not understand what these are. As you go on the guideline that we're going to show with you, then we will be explaining what all this means. But for the purpose of this webinar, I'm only going to focus on three: tax, duties, and levies. What is tax? So you might have heard the word tax, the word levies, and the word duty. And you ask yourself, what does this mean? Tax is a financial charge on individuals or businesses collected by the government, and it is used to pay for public spending. We all remember the darkness that came over the world in 2019. And we remember how the frontline workers worked tirelessly to bring the situation to where it is now. And we might ask ourselves, who was paying these people? We remember the looting that took place in July 2021. And also, there were public security officers who were working tirelessly to bring the situation to calm. Most of us attending this presentation, we are where we are with different levels of successes, but we might not have the privilege to have went to a private school. And we have spent 12 years or more going to school without having to pay. This is the result of the people who were compliant on their tax obligations. Therefore, for those of you attending this webinar, we thank you because you realize the importance of why you need to understand taxation so that you can be compliant, because it is the same money which is being taken from you that is being used to take care of you, your health, your security, your education, and many other services which the government is providing for the public. And a duty, what is a duty? A duty is a type of tax, but it is specially or specifically charged on the value of goods. Example of this will be VAT. VAT is charged on transacting goods. Like when you buy something, then you are going to be charged VAT on that. Another example is excise duty. Now, excise duty is a type of tax that is being charged on the most or the highly consumable products which are manufactured locally. Locally, it means within the borders of a country. And the first or the primary function, as we have explained, is to collect or to generate the revenue for the state. And the second or the secondary function is to discourage consumption of certain harmful products. Like your alcohol will attract excise duty, your cigarettes will attract excise duty. I've put an example, a few examples there of this type of a duty. Then on the other hand, we have customs duty. So customs duty is the same as excise duty. The only difference is that this is the tax that is imposed not on the locally produced products or services, but the goods which are produced international, which have to be imported into the country. And what is a levy? Levy is a legal means by which a taxing authority or a bank can seize property for payment of debt. An example of this will be tax. For example, tax itself is a levy. Rates, example would be if you live in an estate, then we have to pay security that looks after that estate. Then the management will levy security fee. So a levy is an obligation, a legal obligation that someone has on you. Garnishee is one of the examples of a levy. E-filing. We have seen the impact of technology and how it has helped us to make life easier for all of us. We are now attending this meeting, some of you in the comfort of your own homes because of the advancement of technology. Now, prior to 2001, you had to go to SARS to work on your tax obligations. But after that, an online platform was introduced, which is to serve as an easy or okay, sorry about that. Okay, so the SARS e-filing is an official online tax platform that can be used by users like you, individual taxpayers, trusts, which is a legal person and must be represented by natural persons, companies, which are also legal people and must be represented by natural persons. Now, e-filing helps you to submit tax returns, to submit your declarations and make relevant payments in an online environment without you having to go to SARS in person. These are some of the services that you